guys, welcome to the Collect G Sales Homestead. If you've not joined us before, just a couple have kids. I say kids, we're really adults. Living in the Ozark Mountains on property that's been our family for 4 generations, doing the best that we can to be good stewards of the resources that we've been provided. And I almost skipped doing a video today because, well, it's late and I just made it home after a day off, so to speak. It wasn't really a day off because, well, we went to our brother and sister-in-law's house and helped them with some chores around their homestead, and we also made a trade for some goats and things like that. So business, pleasure, fun in the sun, a little bit of work, all of the above. And I came home and I took one look at my seed starting station and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't go to bed. I absolutely have to uppot some of these plants that I said I was going to uppot this weekend. And well, here we are. So bear with me. I'm going to visit with you guys for a little while and show you kind of what real life looks like on the homestead. Say hi, Axe. I'm a little scattered because, like I said, it's been a big, crazy day. It's super late. We just got home, finished all the chores. The goats had broken their night stall. They had broken the latch on it, and so we're out there with flashlights and drills and trying to find the right bits to change out latches and all these kinds of things. But never mind all of that. I wanted to visit with you guys today for a couple of different reasons. Number one is that we made a commitment. We made a series of commitments, but one of our commitments that we made was to keep our friends, family, followers up to date with our progress. And real life, sometimes progress is slow. Sometimes you take a few steps back and then you take a little bit of, steps forward. And the key, I think, to being good stewards of what we're provided and with what we work for and what we're blessed with is to keep perspective. And sometimes when life is busy and crazy, that's extremely hard to do. And there's just something about having my hands in the dirt and watching things grow and, yes, wilt as well, that for me helps me find perspective. So today, bear with me while I pot some plants here. Today we went and visited, like I said, with our brother and sister-in-law, and they're younger than we are by quite a stretch. And they have 2 very young children. They've only been together and on their property for a few years, and the property have been allowed to completely and utterly go back to, just nature. And they have seedlings that have become trees that have now, gotten 10, 15, 20 foot tall. You can't take that down with a lawnmower. It's a lot of work. And so that's one of the reasons why we help them get started with goats, is because, well, here on our homestead, when we were trying to bring everything back from that kind of situation, we found that it was best to let the goats do a lot of that manual labor for us. And so they're super excited. They've got their new goats and they built a small pen for them. And every day when they're out working in their homestead, they put the goats out on leads and are letting them forage and clean. And they're putting in gardens. And today we sorted through canning jars and discussed recipes and any number of things. But they get frustrated, and that's okay. Not only is it okay, it's to be expected. When you have so many things going on in your life and the world is pulling you in different directions and, you're trying to start from nothing and build something from scratch, it's going to take a little while and it's going to be hard sometimes. And that's just part of it. It's part of the fun. It's part of the journey. It's part of what makes it all worth it in my mind. But going and visiting with those folks and, just spending a little bit of time on their homestead and talking to them about some of the challenges that they're facing and, what their goals and their hopes and their dreams are. You look at some things and you're like, man, they're so far along on this thing, or they're so far along on that thing, and you're like, man, I should do this, or feeling bad because you haven't accomplished something. When you step back and look, every day we make a list of the things that we'd like to accomplish, and then we do the best that we can. And some days you don't really get anywhere. I've been having a couple of days where that's what I was feeling like. But then I got to thinking about it. We did some deep cleaning. We did some repairs to the place. We emptied out a couple of rooms, and my mind went blank, forgive me. Cleaned carpets and got building materials and cleaned up more area in the grow room, and I have uppotted some plants. We've started hardening off process for some plants. Like I said, we made repairs to the goat pen. Did we get everything that we wanted to accomplish done? No, but that's okay because we got a lot done. And then I took a walk in the garden, which I haven't taken you guys in the garden. I do apologize for that. Sure I will be chastised, and I will get on that, I promise. But I took a walk in the garden. I'd say a third of the seeds that we sowed didn't come up at all, and it's been plenty long enough that they should have. And I'm like, well, why can I not grow kale? Guys, I don't know what it is. I can sow it in the ground. I can sow it in pots. I can put it anywhere. I don't know how to grow kale, which some people say it's one of the easiest things in the world to grow, but I don't have any luck with it. So what do you do? Anyway, keep trying, I guess. Lucky for us, we have a growing season where we can plant it early. If we miss that window, then we can plant it again late. So I guess that's what we'll be doing this year. I really was looking forward to some kale chips. Let's see what else when we were in the garden. Our trellises, like I said, are up. I've had sowed a bunch of peas into the ground. I wasn't highly optimistic that they were going to come up, but you know what? That's okay because I sowed them in my seed starting station, and they are just now to a point where they are looking for something to climb, and I have something ready for them to climb. So we're starting hardening them off so that at the very latest, hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes according to plan, we can get those in the ground within the week. If we do that, they should start growing up those trellises, and we should have a yield within 35 to 40 days, I would say. So that's super awesome, and we're very excited about that. Those same trellises will be able to double up a later crop later in the year, so that works too. Now, you're probably wondering, what is she playing with right now? I'm actually uppotting some pinto beans that I kind of just threw in a work. They're grocery store beans, nothing fancy, and some of them germinated and came up, some of them didn't, and I thought, well, the ones that did, we'll uppot them. If something happens, cool. If not, that's okay too. No hard feelings. But in preparation for the video, I did go ahead and get the pots ready with moistened soil to save time and effort. So, I have not heard from many of our followers, friends, etc. publicly what they're doing. Now, folks keep reaching out in instant messages and text and stories and personal pictures and all of those kinds of things and saying, oh, we're doing this thing, or here's some pictures of that. But, and I understand, we're shy sometimes, but it sure would be nice if some of you would be courageous enough to accept the challenge. We're challenging ourselves and putting ourselves out there. So we're asking you to do the same thing. Doesn't have to be a lot, And you definitely shouldn't be embarrassed, because everything that you do that puts food on your table, brings joy to you and your family, teaches your children values and a lifestyle that you want them to appreciate and, heaven forbid, adopt for themselves, it's all worth it. And no one's accomplishments are better than anyone else's. Some people's stuff may be fancier, they may have been working at it longer, or maybe you just don't see where they're struggling. Either way, I would love to see some short clips, pictures, comments from folks out there, where you're at on your gardening journey, some of the challenges that you're facing, maybe things that are frustrating you or that you're struggling with, because we all have them. And in the meantime, I am going to keep uppotting these plants. I started with the easy ones first, guys. You're not going to believe it. I'm probably going to do a story or two in the next couple of days and show you my seed starts and where we're at. We're in all different steps and layers with different varieties of plants. My brother-in-law sent home some scrap lumber with us today, and he was like, what are you going to use those for? And I was like, shelves for about 1,000 plants. And he was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to get back to what I was doing now. And he didn't even blink when I said 1,000 plants. But we've easily got that many seeds on the ground. Speaking of seeds, I was about to sign out, but I just realized something, guys. My husband and I don't leave the homestead often. And when we do, it's usually for utility. It's to accomplish something, run errands, take care of business, something that, well, we just can't do here on the homestead. So, when we do go out, our dates are usually non-traditional. Our last date, or day before last date, whatever. One of the things that we did was go to Lowe's, which we went because we need hardware for the renovations that we're doing on our barn. We have a pole barn that is totally open right now that we're doing some work on with our fencing so that we have stalls, multiple stalls for our multiple goats, a designated place for, when we have birthings or sick babies or whatever. And I wanted to put gates on those. But my contractor reminded me that we needed hardware. So to Lowe's we go. Of course, it's Friday night. And we usually try not to do a whole lot of shopping on the Sabbath, but, alas, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Ooh, that's how you know it's time to uppot. They're getting tangled. And we're in there for what seems like forever. We're clowning around, being silly, making jokes. And I made the mistake of stopping at the seed stand. I looked everywhere, and I mean everywhere, all over this property, trying to find those seeds when I sat down to sow the last round of seeds that I sowed. Could not find them. My husband has lost one of his shoes. We have new puppies, and one of them has carried off one of my husband's newest shoes. And while I'm out looking for said shoes, I find my seeds. So, I guess I'm not done with seed sowing just yet. However, uppotting has to come first. So, on that note, I want to thank everyone for taking a few minutes out of their busy days to hear the anecdotes of what all is going on with us here on the homestead, and for us to send you well wishes and blessings for your week. And hopefully we will be back soon, tomorrow, the next day, with more updates on our adventures. So again, we thank you. We wish you safety and blessings, and we'll talk to you soon.